So I had a lovely surprise the other day. No, I didn't win the lottery. That'd be nice. I mean, I would take that. But no, I went to the local Alamo Drafthouse Theater, who was playing a bunch of movies for October, Halloween-themed films, October-themed films. And they played this movie called The Guest from 2014 that I remember getting an email for. Part of the way this show works is that different distributors and PR companies send us, the royal us, emails saying, oh, this movie's coming out, and if you want to review it, or if you want to interview the cast, or whatever, or if you want to catch a screening, blah, blah, blah. And The Guest was one of those, but for some reason I just never got around to it, and I couldn't really get my head around what it was about back then, and I'm really glad I didn't know, and then I did not watch a trailer for it. So the local Alamo Drafthouse played it. A friend of mine said, ooh, this is really good, you should go. So we did, and wow, this was a great surprise. So this is from Adam Wingard, who had previously done You're Next, and this is not really a horror movie. Which surprised me because I was kind of expecting maybe it would be because of the way this film was being shown at the theater here. The Guest stars, and if I glance over here, those are my notes, and that's IMDb. I got a decent MNDB upstairs, but IMDb fills in the gaps quite nicely. So Dan Stevens, who people may or may not know from Downton Abbey, stars in this film, and he's this young soldier who shows up at this remote, I want to say farm. I guess they have horses. So this remote farm kind of ranch style house out in the middle of Texas somewhere. And he was a friend of the son in this family who was recently killed overseas somewhere in the army. He was an old army buddy, and he had promised that deceased son of this family that he would check in on the family and look out for them. And he just wanted to stop in and say hello, and that the dead son wanted them to know that he loved them and all of that. And at first, they're a little taken aback by this guy they've never heard of before, but they want to be nice to, a fellow soldier, a friend of their son's, and they let him stay there for a day or two until he gets on his feet. And he starts working his way into the family. He starts doing what he said he would do, which is helping the family. And that extends to helping the family with their problems, or taking care of problems for the family. I'm not going to go much farther than that, but let's just say this film involves violencia and a very dark undercurrent, and it's very funny. Like, I didn't know what to expect. It's not overtly a comedy, but there's a lot of dark comedy in this. Like, this guest, who's named David, that's all we know him by is David in this film, he's clearly really good in self-defense. So there's a scene where he helps the son in the family, the awkward son, deal with some bullies, and it's like out of a John Wick movie, and it's amazing and wonderful and hilarious. And he just has these skills, and it becomes clear the farther the movie goes that he's got a winning smile, but behind that eyes and those smile, something else is going on. And why is he really there? And what is he planning to do? And who will survive and what will be left of them? Let's just say that, okay? So The Guest was fantastic. This was a film that I guess barely got a release, was not terribly well marketed. I'm not sure how you would market this without giving too much away, unfortunately, but I highly recommend it. It's got a great synthy type score. The cast is great. It's familiar faces. I'm going to glance over here again. You've got Maika, Monroe, who you might know from It Follows. You've got Leland Orser, who's been in a bunch of things. Apparently he was in the Taken movies, and I think I recall him from Very Bad Things, which is a movie that I love. Sheila, Kelley, Lance Reddick, a whole lot of familiar faces, although a very small cast. And shot in New Mexico, as a matter of fact. And cannot recommend this one enough. If my word means anything, if this is enough of an inducement for you to watch The Guest and not read anything about it, I would highly recommend that, because again, I went in pretty blind, and the twists and the turns the story took and what kind of movie it morphed into, I was not ready for, and I loved that it did that. So it's a shame this movie isn't better known, but very, very highly recommend. And it's set at Halloween, but I wouldn't really call it a horror movie. There is a Red Letter Media interview with the writer of this film that's really cool to watch after you see the movie, where I'm not going to get into what he says, but he talks about how the film got made and the stages of the script and what the idea was for this character originally. And after you watch the movie and you listen to that, you're like, okay, that makes sense, and wow, that would have been fun too. So at any rate, The Guest from 2014, very highly recommended.